Hello and welcome. My name is Alan and we are here today in this video to talk a bit about the news of, there was an attack in the New Orleans French Quarter on Bourbon Street. As you can see from the headline there, driver rams New Year's revelers in New Orleans, killing 10. FBI doesn't believe he acted alone. So let's look at this here. Army veteran driving a pickup truck that bore the flag of the Islamic State group wrought carnage on New Orleans' raucous New Year's celebration, killing at least 10 people as he steered around a police blockade and slammed into revelers before being shot dead by police. The FBI said it is investigating the attack early Wednesday in the city's famed French Quarter as a terrorist act and does not believe the driver acted alone. Investigators found multiple improvised explosive devices, including 2 pipe bombs that were concealed within coolers and wired for remote detonation, according to a Louisiana State Police intelligence bulletin obtained by the AP. The bulletin, relying on the information gathered soon after the attack, also said surveillance footage showed 3 men and a woman placing one of the devices, but federal officials did not immediately confirm that detail, and it wasn't clear who the individuals in the video were or what connection they may have had to the attack. The rampage turned festive Bourbon Street into a macabre mayhem, injuring more than 30 people. Pedestrians fled to the safety inside nightclubs and restaurants. One man watched in horror as authorities placed a tarp over his friend's body after she was hit and thrown some 30 feet or 9 meters. A college football playoff game between Georgia and Notre Dame at the nearby Superdome was postponed until Thursday. A Georgia student was critically hurt in the attack, according to University President Jerry Moorhead. This is not just an act of terrorism, this is evil, according to New Orleans Police Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick. The driver defeated safety measures in place to protect pedestrians and was hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did. The FBI identified the driver as Shamsuddin Jabbar, 42, a U.S. citizen and Army veteran from Texas, and said it is working to determine Jabbar's potential associations and affiliations with terrorist organizations. We do not believe that Jabbar was solely responsible, Alethea Duncan, an associate special agent in charge of the FBI's New Orleans field office, said at a news conference. Jabbar drove a rented pickup truck onto a sidewalk, going around a police car that was positioned to block vehicular traffic. Barrier system meant to prevent vehicle attacks was undergoing repairs in preparation for the Super Bowl, which is scheduled to take place in New Orleans in February. Police killed Jabbar after he exited the truck and opened fire on responding officers. 3 officers returned fire. 2 officers were shot and are in stable condition. At least 33 other people were hurt in the attack. A photo circulated among law enforcement officials showed a bearded Jabbar wearing camouflage next to the truck after he was killed. The intelligence bulletin obtained by the Associated Press said he was wearing a ballistic vest and helmet. Flag of the Islamic State group was on the truck's trailer hitch. The investigators recovered a handgun and AR-style rifle, according to a law enforcement official. The official was not authorized to discuss details of the investigation publicly and spoke on condition of anonymity. Zion Parsons, 18, of Gulfport, Mississippi, said he saw the truck barreling through, throwing people like in a movie scene, throwing people into the air. Parsons said he heard gunshots and ran through a gruesome aftermath of bleeding and maimed victims. Bodies all up and down the street, everybody screaming and hollering. People crying on the floor like brain matter all over the ground. His friend, 18-year-old aspiring nurse Nikira Dedeaux, was among the people killed. Parsons said he called hospitals and the morgue searching for answers about the location of Dedeaux's body. He later called her family to deliver the grim news. I hadn't had time to cry up until I called her mother and she asked me, "Where's my baby?" That broke me up. Hours after the attack, several coroner's office vans were parked on the corner of Bourbon and Canal Streets, cordoned off by police tape and the crowds of dazed tourists standing around, some trying to navigate their luggage through the labyrinth of blockades. We looked out our front door and saw caution tape in dead silence, and it's eerie, said Tessa Kunda, an Indiana native who moved to the French Quarter a few years ago. This is not what we fell in love with. It's sad. Elsewhere, life went on as normal in the city, known for some for a motto that translates to "let the good times roll." Though close to where the truck came to rest, some people were talking about the attack while others, dressed in Georgia gear, talked football. At a cafe a block away, people crowded in for breakfast as upbeat pop music played. 2 blocks away, people drank at a bar, seemingly as if nothing happened. We recognize that there are tourists around us, and we urge all to avoid the French Quarter, as this is an active investigation, Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry said. We understand the concerns of the community and want to reassure everyone that the safety of the French Quarter and the city of New Orleans remains our top priority. President Joe Biden, speaking to reporters in Delaware, said he felt anger and frustration over the attack, but that he would refrain from further comment until more is known. My heart goes out to the victims and their families who were simply trying to celebrate the holiday. There is no justification for violence of any kind, and we will not tolerate any attack on any of our nation's community, what Biden said. The attack is the latest example of a vehicle being used as a weapon to carry out mass violence, a trend that has alarmed law enforcement officials and that can be difficult to protect against. If confirmed as Islamic State inspired, the attack would represent the deadliest such assault on U.S. soil in years. FBI officials have repeatedly warned about an elevated international terrorism threat due to the Israel-Hamas genocide. I'm not calling it a damn war. In the last year, the FBI has disrupted other potential attacks inspired by the militant group, including in October when agents arrested an Afghan man in Oklahoma accused of plotting an election day attack targeting large crowds. So yeah. This is a recent event that's just happened. We're still getting a lot of updates. Here's from one of the local Foxes, Fox 8. See, in the AP they said 10 dead. Now it's up to 15. New details about the moments leading up to the deadly attack, according to surveillance footage obtained by Fox 8. Video reportedly shows the suspect's truck, driven by Shamsuddin Jabbar, 42, traveling down Canal Street at Bourbon Street, where it passed a New Orleans Police Department unit, maneuvered around it, and then drove onto the sidewalk, then racing through a crowd of people. Authorities say the attack left at least 15 people dead and dozens injured in one of the most devastating incidents in recent New Orleans history. Published January 1st, 2:23 p.m. So this article just 3 hours ago. So this is some of the more up-to-date information we have. 15 dead, dozens injured. There it goes. Video footage. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. There it goes. Comes up right next to the police car and then goes around it.
Thanks so much for that, Rob. You know, there's been a lot of discussion of these.
Okay. Now we've got a statement from the FBI they released. Today at approximately 3:15 a.m. Central Standard Time, an individual drove a pickup truck into a crowd of people in Bourbon Street in New Orleans, killing at least 10 and injuring dozens of others. So, yeah, the total's been updated since. After hitting the crowd, he exited the vehicle and fired upon local law enforcement. Law enforcement returned fire, and the subject was pronounced deceased at the scene. 2 law enforcement officers injured and transported to a local hospital. The subject, identified as 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar. a U.S. citizen from Texas. He was driving a Ford pickup truck which appears to have been rented, and we are working to confirm how the subject came into possession of the vehicle. The ISIS flag was located in the vehicle, and the FBI is working to determine the subject's potential associations and affiliations with terrorist organizations. Weapons and potential IED were located in the subject's vehicle. Other potential IEDs were also located in the French Quarter. The FBI Special Agent Bob technicians are working with our law enforcement partners to determine if any of the devices are viable, and they will work to render those devices safe. FBI is the lead investigative agency in the case and are working with the partners to investigate this as an act of terrorism. We are aggressively running down all leads to identify any possible associates of the subject. FBI set up digital tip line, and we ask that the information or video of the incident to submit them to the FBI at website fbi.gov/Bourbon Street Attack, or call 1-800-CALL-FBI. And of course, I have another article talking about the postponement of the Sugar Bowl in Louisiana, in New Orleans. But yeah. So we have 15 people killed, dozens injured. Another one of these senseless attacks that never should have happened. You know, this is just an example of behavior of these believers as to why partly I'm an atheist. I cannot stomach being part of any religion that calls for death. You are not a good person. I don't care what your holy fairy tales tell you. Because honestly, it should always be the intention of people to seek peaceful resolutions. Clearly, this individual did not want one. And it's disappointing. Lives are lost that never should have been snuffed out as they were. But this is not a reason to go to war with any group either. peace and a better and more fruitful world should always be our goal. But there are so many that just do not care. And it's sad. It really is. My heart goes out to the families who have lost loved ones. My heart goes out to those who are injured. Yeah. Such despicable actions should not be a thing. And yet, here we are, as a society, having to deal with them. It really does just sadden me. It disappoints me so much. Anyway, just thought I'd bring up the information on this event going on to bring it up to y'all. Anyway, we'll go ahead and end this episode here. As always, educate thyself, think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll be putting these sources in the description box below the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.